There's art supply stink, and then there's you didn't do your laundry stink, and you're showing up in your pajamas stink, which is like college. That doesn't have
Yeah.
to be just to the art department, but it can be.
Welcome to Scary Mystery Surprise,
where we talk about scary things that surprised us around the internet.
I'm Edwin.
And I'm Michelle. Back to school. And not just deadlines and bullies. We're specifically going to Nigeria with some legends about school. There are a lot of boarding schools in Africa. These are a few stories that'll definitely keep you in your dorms at night.
Boarding schools, those things are just naturally creepy sounding to me.
I'd say it's probably more normal in Africa than it is in here. If you're going to a boarding school, it implies some sort of class here. Or you got in trouble and you're going to in trouble boarding school or something.
Yeah, I think I only met one person who has been to boarding school, and I was like, how was that? And they're like, oh, it's terrible. I hated it. She didn't want to talk about it.
That's fair. Some people have had bad experiences at boarding schools. I think if I had heard these stories at boarding school, I would also consider it a bad experience. So, at a generic boarding school in Africa, somewhere in Nigeria, there was a teacher. She was beautiful and wore stylish red heels every day to work. You could hear her clicks down the hall, and they made a sound that went koi, 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 koi. She was one of those teachers that stood out. And Edwin, you wanted to be in her class so bad. Maybe even a schoolboy crush on this teacher.
Cool.
You're crushing a little bit. You ignore the other students' whispers about her. They're like, dude, she's mean. Dude, she hates her students. Whatever.
I like that.
Yeah, you're into that. That's fine. How could anyone that beautiful be mean? But sure enough, the second you transfer into her class, you find out. She screams at the students for no reason. She's rude. She finds any reason to beat her students. But when the administrator walks in, she basically flips a switch and goes back to being the professional teacher.
Ah, that kind. Yes.
Your crush turns into hate and disgust. Then one day she really crosses the line. She smacks a girl so hard in the head that her ear starts bleeding, and she runs out into the hallway crying. You and a bunch of other students finally go and make an official complaint. And finally, with the hard evidence and all the students' complaints, the principal fires her on the spot. The teacher is enraged. You can hear the furious click of her heels and the heated argument in the hall. You feel triumphant. She's gone. You did it.
Everyone cheers.
But your triumph doesn't last long. Because the next day, you hear even stranger news. On the teacher's drive home, she'd been so mad that she'd lost control of her car and died in an accident. I mean, the students are shocked. But honestly, still relieved, because she wasn't nice. But a rumor starts to spread that before she had died, she'd sworn revenge on the students who'd gotten her fired.
Like a curse?
I love the rumor mill at school.
Then I'm telling you, you used to have so many cool ones. I guess that's the best part of school would be that, how quickly stories spread. That was cool.
So, the rumor starts to spread. She's cursed everyone that had gotten her fired. Where was I? Time goes on. You get a new teacher, new assignments, new school drama. And that old teacher kind of begins to fade from memory because, kids don't have that long of a brain span. It's just the way it is. But then slowly, one by one, your classmates begin to disappear at night in the dorms.
Like they're just gone?
They're just gone. Nobody can explain it. And soon, it's just you left.
In the whole school?
No, not in the whole school, but it's in your class. Like, can you imagine, like, just slowly as the classroom just empties out each day?
The dread of who's going to be gone the next day. Maybe it's me.
But anyway, soon it's just you left, just sitting in the classroom alone. But then that night, you hear it. Koi, 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 koi. Down the hall, coming toward your room. How could this be? What is this? Why am I hearing those footsteps? You open the door and you step out into the hall. And then I wrote jump scare scream for Sarah so she can add a jump scare right there. And you are never seen again. That's the tale of Madame Koi Koi.
Wow. So that's like based on a real thing.
No, it's like a big urban legend. They have these tales that keep kids in their dorms at night. So this is like the genre of tale that I'm telling. These are all about school rumors. And it's funny because in some versions, the students beat her to death. And they'll beat her with her red shoe. And then she has to come and find her red shoe. So that's another.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's another tale. That's like another version of it. And then in Ghana, Madame Koi Koi is called Madame Moke. And moke means high heel.
I don't know. I was imagining moke, 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 moke.
Moke, 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 moke. The students shove her in a closet and lock her in there to die, not realizing she was pregnant. Yeah, they beat her to death with her red shoe. But also because she's mean. In these stories, she's never like nice and they beat her to death. She's always like unreasonably mean. But yeah, Madame Koi Koi is known for haunting school premises with activities ranging from opening school doors, singing, whistling, attacking people on the toilet or in the bathroom.
Oh, that's the worst.
Or slapping students. Slapped, go slapped. Her presence is always accompanied by her footsteps. And in some tales, she comes to students demanding her heel, which is said to be missing. But this whole tale reminds me of Teke Teke from the Japanese episode. The lurking in the toilet, the sound, which I always think it's interesting when you find another story from like a totally different culture that's very similar. I find that very, very cool.
They're named based on the sounds too. Like Teke Teke, that's the sound that it makes. Yeah.
Yeah, Madame Koi Koi. There's also a Netflix horror show called The Origin Madame Koi Koi, which is loosely based on this urban legend from, and is produced by Nollywood. So that's kind of nice, the Nigerian Hollywood. So, why not check it out?
I think we should check it out.
So this is about Aroma. She was this beautiful girl, and in her community, she always had the best stylish hairstyles. And they seemed really expensive, and no one could figure out when she was doing them because she was at the dorms at night in school. The kids were like, what's her deal? What's her deal? And like, who's doing her hair? We want to know. And so one night, two kids decided to like spy on her and see who was doing her hair and what she was doing. And when they peeked in the window, they saw that she was doing her own hair because she took her head off and put it in her own lap and was doing her hair.
Oh, no.
So that's why she had those amazing hairstyles, is because she could do them herself, which I think we all wish we could do sometimes.
That reminds me of a story. There's this book. I still have it, actually. It's called In a Dark Room. Have you heard of that? It's a kid's story book.
No, I thought you were going to say that. What's that one with the corn pipe on the front? You know, he's got the corn pipe and he's a skeleton.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah, that one. Are you going to talk about the girl that has the ribbon around her neck?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know what book that was in. I thought it was in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. But yes, that's a story that I would love to find the bottom of. You know, like, where did that story come from? Because that has been forever. Did someone just make that up?
Oh, it's creepy. It freaked me out as a kid.
I do have one more story. Have you ever heard of a bush baby?
No, that sounds hilarious.
The bush baby myth is used to scare school students into minding their own business and staying indoors at night. Of course, another reason. The Bush babies apparently sound like a normal baby or a toddler crying. Sometimes the kid will be calling for help, and whoever goes and checks, the Good Samaritan who goes outside, will either disappear or be torn apart into a bloody mess.
I'm by myself right now in this apartment.
Well, don't go outside if you hear a crying baby. So, I mean, moral of the story. I love that all of these give you more reasons to be scared of school. Not only do you have like your normal reasons.
Everyone's shared trauma of school.
Not only do you have that, but then there's all these added bonuses of like, now I got to worry about this ghost.
School, man, I'm telling you, like a place of so much suffering for so many people, it's bound to have something there, just some hate, like a shared hate toward the place.
I mean, what do you think about school that does it? What is it? Is it just like the deadlines? What is it?
One time I was at this like a cult speech, like they're trying to sell you into getting a I don't know, paying like a couple $1,000s to get into this program that's going to make you a better person and all that.
Oh yeah.
And I remember feeling and as they were talking, I was having this panic attack, and my friend, like an anxiety attack, and my friend is looking at me. She's right next. She's the one that invited me to this meeting. Eunice, if you're listening to this, hi. Why'd you do that to me? Yeah, I remember feeling this just fear, and I think it was being controlled. Like I felt like I was being manipulated, and I think that's what school has, that same thing for me.
I keep having these dreams where I'm back in high school, but then I realize I've already graduated high school, so I don't have to give a shit about like what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, oh, well, I mean, it's cool for me to go get a second high school degree, I guess, but like I don't have to really finish it.
I told you, right, about our paranormal research club that we had in high school?
No,
we started
but that's
it with
awesome.
a couple of friends. Yeah.
That was awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you investigate anything?
Yeah, a couple things, a couple places. There was a relocated cemetery near where I live, and we went there. It was very interesting. And then also City Hall, which was yeah, it's great. That's all I remember. Those are the memorable things from school for me. It's just hanging out with your friends, eating that nasty chicken teriyaki bowl for lunch every single day that now I miss and I really crave.
You can still walk into a school cafeteria and have it like traumatize you. You know, you'll know that smell the second you walk into any sort of cafeteria. It's like, oh God, something like square pizza and chocolate milk.
Square pizza.
Well, you know, we'll all enjoy a piece of square pizza together someday in the great school in the sky.
I was thinking of hell. I'm like, we're going to see each other there. Like,
I don't know. Like the second you graduate, you're just like, oh yeah, none of this really mattered.
Yeah.
Like all those deadlines didn't matter, but the interpersonal dynamics of people being bizarre and immature and pulling weird shit, that will come back periodically throughout your life where you're just like, I thought I was over this. But at least I don't have to write a geography report anymore.
Oh, it's the worst. But hopefully I can get over that and at least say that I'm not like scared of it. But I think all these like boarding school type of things, like they've always been pretty creepy. Even the dorms in college were like, oh, you have to walk here like at night. Or plus, like as an RA, I remember thinking there's little areas where like you have to go and like where nobody goes. Sometimes you find people doing sketchy stuff there. That kind of noise, and also like ghostly noises.
Oh.
You don't know what it is. Is it a wild animal, or is it just Becky from down the hall?
Well, anyway, stay in your dorms. Don't go out at night. Don't wander from school property. But then do once you're free, because it'll never contain you again. What are we going to talk about next week, Edwin?
I don't know, but I hope it's not school.
Scary Mystery Surprise is hosted by Michelle Newman and
Edwin Covarrubias. This podcast was edited and sound designed by Sarah Vorhees Wendel of VW Sound.